Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is me Fatima Khan, Business Wali. I am a student of Rehan AI Teachers Training Institute Batch 22. So today I am going to discuss a very important topic with ChatGPT, that is exploring the connection between diet and mental well-being. So today we will learn about this topic from ChatGPT. Let's start the conversation. Hello ChatGPT.
Hey there, I'm here and ready to help. What's on your mind today?
So today I want to discuss the topic exploring the connection between diet and mental well-being.
Ooh, that's a really interesting topic. There's a lot of research showing that what we eat can really affect how we feel mentally, things like mood, stress, even brain function. What angle were you thinking of exploring?
Okay, so my first question is this: how does diet influence mental health and emotional well being?
Yeah, great starting point. So basically, the nutrients we get from food, like omega 3s, vitamins, and fiber, can actually change how our brain works. For example, a diet rich in fruits, veggies, and whole grains is linked to lower rates of depression, while high sugar or ultra processed foods can sometimes make anxiety or mood swings worse. So there's definitely a link.
Okay, what foods are considered beneficial for improving mental wellness?
Yeah, so some of the big ones are things like fatty fish, like salmon for omega 3s, leafy greens, whole grains, berries, and even things like nuts and seeds. And fermented foods like yogurt or kimchi can also support gut health, which is tied to mood. So it's kind of a full body effect.
So, how can unhealthy eating habits affect mood and stress level?
Yeah, so when we regularly rely on things like sugary snacks, fast food, or big caffeine spikes, it can kind of mess with your blood sugar and inflammation in your body. That can lead to more fatigue, irritability, and even higher stress levels. So it's kind of a downward spiral. When we eat badly, we feel bad, and then it's harder to manage stress.
Okay, what is the connection between nutrition and brain function?
Yeah, so there's actually a pretty strong link. Your brain needs certain nutrients like B vitamins, antioxidants, and healthy fats to stay sharp. For instance, omega 3s in fish can help with memory and focus, and antioxidants from fruits and veggies help protect brain cells from damage. So, good nutrition is pretty much like brain fuel.
How do vitamins and minerals contribute to better mental health?
Yeah, that's a great point. Vitamins and minerals are kind of like the building blocks. For example, B vitamins like B6, B12, and folate help produce neurotransmitters like serotonin, which regulates mood. Minerals like magnesium and zinc also play a huge role in brain function and stress regulation. So, getting a good mix of them is key.
Can a balanced diet help reduce anxiety and depression symptoms?
Absolutely. There's a lot of evidence that a balanced diet can help. When you get consistent nutrients, it stabilizes your energy, reduces inflammation, and supports brain balance. So it's not a magic fix, but paired with things like therapy or exercise, it can really help reduce those symptoms.
What role does hydration play in maintaining mental well being?
Oh, yeah, hydration is huge. Even mild dehydration can affect your focus, memory, and mood, kind of like a foggy feeling. Water helps your brain stay hydrated and keeps those neurotransmitters working properly. So, drinking enough water is a simple but powerful tool for mental well being.
Okay, so tell me, how does excessive sugar or junk food consumption impact mental health?
Yeah, so when we have a lot of added sugar or junk food, it can cause these big spikes and crashes in our blood sugar. That can lead to feeling really irritable or anxious, and over time, it can increase inflammation, which is linked to things like depression. So, cutting back on that is really beneficial for your mental health.
What are some practical ways to maintain a healthy diet for better mental wellness?
Yeah, definitely. So, one practical step is planning meals ahead of time so you have balanced options ready. Also, focus on adding more whole foods like fruits, veggies, lean proteins, and try to reduce ultra processed snacks. And don't forget to stay hydrated, and if you can, keep a food journal to see what makes you feel your best.
Okay, why is awareness about the relationship between diet and mental well being important in modern society?
Yeah, it's super important because we often focus just on medication or therapy, but food is a huge factor we can control. By raising awareness, people can take a more holistic approach, using diet as a preventive or supportive tool. So it helps reduce stigma and gives people more options.
How does a healthy diet improve concentration and memory?
Yeah, absolutely. When you fuel your body with the right nutrients like complex carbs, protein, and healthy fats, your brain gets a steady supply of energy. That means better focus, sharper memory, and you'll likely stay on track a lot easier. So it's like a natural boost.
What's the relationship between gut health and mental well being?
Yeah, there's a really strong connection. So your gut is full of bacteria that produce neurotransmitters like serotonin, and that gut-brain axis basically means what's happening in your digestive system can affect your mood, stress, and even anxiety levels. So keeping your gut healthy often helps keep your mind balanced too.
How can emotional eating affect psychological health?
Yeah, it definitely can. A lot of times people turn to food for comfort, and that can create the cycle short term relief, but then guilt or stress later. Over time, it can kind of distort your relationship with food, which affects self esteem and overall mental health. So, being mindful and having balanced coping strategies is really key.
What role do omega 3 fatty acids play in brain health?
Oh, they're super important. Omega 3s, especially EPA and DHA, help build brain cell membranes and support communication between neurons. They've been linked to better memory, focus, and even a reduced risk of things like dementia. So, including them, like in fish, flax seeds, or walnuts, can really help.
How can poor nutrition impact sleep and mental balance?
Yeah, so nutrition plays a big role in sleep quality. Certain foods, like those rich in tryptophan or magnesium, help promote serotonin and melatonin, which regulate sleep. And if you're missing key nutrients like iron or vitamin D, that can disrupt your sleep cycle. So, good nutrition really supports better rest, which feeds back into mental well being.
Okay, why is breakfast considered important for mental performance?
Yeah, absolutely. Breakfast basically kickstarts your metabolism and gives your brain a steady supply of fuel after a night of fasting. So, a balanced breakfast like whole grains, protein, and fruit helps improve focus, memory, and keeps your energy more stable throughout the day.
How do eating patterns influence energy and motivation levels?
Yeah, so eating patterns have a big impact. If you have regular balanced meals instead of skipping or having big sugar spikes, your blood sugar stays steady. That means more consistent energy, less crashes, and that helps keep you motivated and alert throughout the day.
What food are known to reduce stress and improve mood naturally?
Yeah, that's a great point. So, nutrition can actually help regulate stress by keeping your body systems balanced. Nutrients like magnesium or vitamin C can reduce cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and overall, a well balanced diet gives you the physical resilience to handle stress better.
What is the importance of mindful eating for emotional well being?
Yeah, mindful eating is really powerful. It's basically paying full attention to what you're eating, how it tastes, how it makes you feel, and it helps you recognize hunger and fullness cues. That kind of awareness reduces emotional eating, so you're less likely to overeat or use food as a crutch, which supports better emotional balance.
How can processed food negatively influence mental health?
Yeah, it can. Processed foods often have a lot of added sugars, unhealthy fats, and fewer nutrients. Over time, that can increase inflammation and affect brain function, so people might feel more sluggish, anxious, or just less mentally sharp.
What is the difference between healthy eating and emotional eating?
Yeah, so healthy eating is really about giving your body balanced nutrients, like choosing foods that fuel you regularly. Emotional eating, on the other hand, is when you eat in response to feelings like stress or boredom rather than actual hunger. So one's about nourishment and the other is more of a coping mechanism.
How can social and cultural eating habit affect mental wellness?
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, social eating, like sharing meals with family or friends, can boost a sense of connection, which is great for mental health. But sometimes cultural norms around food can also create stress, like if you feel pressure to eat a certain way. So, it's kind of a balance. Positive social connection can help, but we have to be mindful of the pressures that can come with it.
How can nutrition education help improve mental well being in communities?
Yeah, so nutrition education is really empowering. When communities understand how food affects their mood, energy, and focus, they can make better choices, feel more in control, and that can reduce disparities, especially in terms of things like stress or mental illness.
Why should mental health and nutrition be discussed together in health awareness programs?
Yeah, exactly. They're really intertwined. So if we only focus on, say, mental health support without looking at diet, we're missing a big piece of the puzzle. By addressing both together, people get a more holistic approach, and that can really help them thrive, mentally and physically.
Thank you, ChatGPT, for a great conversation.
Of course. I really enjoyed it too. If you ever want to dive into another topic or just chat, I'm here. Take care.
So that's all about the conversation. I hope you learned something new in this conversation. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me. Allah Hafiz.